It speaks. It doesn't have better things to do. That is true. I do not. I'm not interested in getting into a discussion on the subject, however. Ask another time. If it is done asking overly obvious questions, let us find some humans to throw off a cliff or something.
You called. Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. I am hardly surprised. To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Your farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are. What does that accomplish? The farmer who buys a shop is never a merchant. He is always a farmer turned merchant. He carries his old life with him as a turtle carries its shell. Does it? It's also his weakness. If he stumbles and falls over, it pins him on his back. It is better to armor yourself with no more than what you need. One life, one duty. You can learn to find it in doing your duty, in serving your people. There is no need to search for it. Shall we move on? There is interesting food here. You have a thing. It doesn't have a word in the Kunari tongue. Little baked things like bread, but sweet and crumbly. Yes, we have no such things in our lands. This should be remedied. Perhaps. It's strange to be in a crowd and hear a language that is not your own, to see faces that are and aren't like yours. I miss the smells of Saharon, tea and incense and the sea. Ferelden smells of wet dogs. True. I was trying to forget that part. Shall we move on? As you wish.
I was just thinking about what happened to the elves, and I'm reminded of a song sung to me many years ago. It was when my mother died, and this wise elven woman comforted me and told me that we shouldn't fear death or hate it. Death is just another beginning. One day, we must all shed our earthly bodies to allow our spirits to fly free. Then perhaps you know this song?
You witnessed the rarest of things, Warden. The Dalish stand ready to defend Ferelden. We have assembled on a short schedule. Certain factors of equipment could be better. Crafting components would serve best. Basic ones like elf root and deep mushroom. You will have the best equipped army Ferelden has ever seen. Something on your mind? Of course. You never asked? We are friends. I didn't mean to... It wasn't supposed to... Oh, let me explain. The thing is, I'm used to not telling anyone who didn't already know. It was always a secret. Even Duncan was the only Grey Warden who knew. And then, after the battle, when I should have told you... I don't know, it seemed like it was too late by then. How do you just tell someone that? I should have told you, anyway. It was important for you to know. I guess part of me liked you not knowing. They treat me differently. I become the bastard prince to them, instead of just Alistair. I know that must sound stupid to you, but I hate that it shaped my entire life. I never wanted it, and I certainly don't want to be king. The very idea of it terrifies me. For all the good it does me, my blood seems certain to haunt me no matter what I do. I guess I should be thankful that Arl Eamon is far more likely to inherit the throne. If he's all right. Oh, I hope he's all right. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for not telling you sooner. I guess I was just hoping that you would like me for who I am. It was a dumb thing to do. I guess it's kind of a relief that you know now. Let's go.
All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book. Is it? It seemed normal enough a tale growing up. No different than the other elven boys in the whorehouse. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear. Ah, compassion and beauty both in the same woman. It is a delight, truly, though what you say is unnecessary, even if it is appreciated. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all. My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again. Oh, there has been plenty. To tell the truth, it is because I expected nothing more. Still, even I eventually thought that it would be better for me if I ran off to join the famous Dalish when one of their clans drew near Antiva city. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on. Gloves? You're giving me gloves? What for? Maker's breath. You're right. It is like my mother's. The leather was less thick and it had more embroidery, but these are very close and quite handsome. Do I seem surprised? Perhaps I am. Still, I appreciate the fact that you even thought of me. No one has simply given me a gift before. Thank you.
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road. Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the Lost Tigers, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming. People flee from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the Horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the Darkspawn don't get them. Is that so bad? They destroy everything they touch. That's what I tell myself, too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
You are wise to invest in the effectiveness of your followers.
I await your command. At times, perhaps, a world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees. For a time, but one can only remain a child for so long. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments, the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. 'Twas encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds. Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken. And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been. They did indeed. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality.
What is your desire? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Again? Well now, what might interest you, I wonder? Shall I describe the stages involved with Lanthrax poisoning? I watched a man go through all 7 once. Ah, you should see the look you have. I jest, of course. Let's see. How about the largest battle I ever took part in? That would have been the slaughter of Prince Azrin. Did you hear of that down in these parts? Prince Azrin was 4th in line to the throne, you see. He started off as 11th, but worked his way up the old-fashioned method by inheriting control of an entire Crocel from his grandfather. After assassinating his way through the royal family, the king hired 3 other cells to take down Prince Azrin once and for all. I was in one of those cells. Antivan royalty is very much bound up in the Crows. You wouldn't want it run by a bunch of commoners, after all, would you? And this means they get involved in politics quite often. This particular fight nearly bankrupted the nation, I understand. It almost ended up putting a crow on the throne, a commoner. But that's a whole different story. I played a very small part. My part in the entire battle was taken up trying to reach Princess Verina, who had thrown in with her brother. I killed about 11 of her guards personally before I got knocked out of a window. I landed in the river and nearly drowned. I was fished out by some urchins who robbed me blind. Made off with my boots, too. At least they didn't cut my throat. And that was my part in history. It's true. I live a charmed life. One of the prostitutes that raised me was a fortune teller. Said I wouldn't die young. She was rather startled by that. But there you go. Tale told. Let's be off before I tell more embarrassing stories, huh?
Your dog is filthy. I can smell him 50 yards off. That may be so, but all the same, I would like your permission to bathe him. No, that's not what magic is used for. Just make him sleep over on the other side of the camp, with Alistair. With any luck, that will keep all the stench confined to one small area. What's on your mind? I will answer to the best of my ability. People don't become mages. They are born mages. The talent just surfaces later. But you are asking how I ended up at the Circle. I was brought there by the Templars, just like many of the other apprentices. I don't remember very much. I was very young then. I didn't have a family. I never knew my real parents. My earliest memory was of hiding in a hayloft on a farm, trying to keep warm. I was found, and the farmer's wife was kind enough not to send me away. But they had children of their own, and I was never made to feel welcome. The eldest son was the worst. He was always calling me a stray, and throwing anything he could get his hands on at me. And I don't know how it happened, but one day, he just found his hair on fire. Fortunately, there was a large trough nearby. He ran screaming, dripping head and all, to his mother. I was shut up in the barn with a bowl of water and a crust of hard bread. The Templars arrived several mornings later. The barn kept me safe from the village children, and the stones they would hurl at me. I was afraid, yes, but it could have been much worse. I'll never forget the moment the Templars led me into the entrance hall of the tower. I had never seen anything so grand in my life. I stopped being afraid then. I knew I was home. Well, that's about all there is to my tale. That's how I came to the circle. I would be lying if I said it was easy. First, there were rules, and we were constantly watched to make sure we behaved appropriately. Then there was the study of magic. We had to cast the spells just so, control the effects completely. A single word spoken incorrectly, a gesture out of sync, and lack of focus. And we needed to have perfect focus, or we would be in danger. Without the circle and my mentors, I would not have been where I am today. And there was joy in life at the circle. The joys of fellowship, in knowing that you were not alone in your struggles. In spite of everything, I was happy in the tower, and I loved it. What's on your mind? I try not to dwell too much on the mistakes of my past, of which there are many. I would go quite mad if I did that. But I do have one regret. The greatest misstep of my life, made even more grave because it had dire consequences for someone else. Years ago, I was assigned as mentor to a lad, Anarin. He was my first apprentice. Anarin was an elf, raised in one of the elven alienages, and he was very mistrustful of humans, especially humans in authority. What Anarin needed was time. Time to get used to his new home, time to emerge from his shell, so we could build a rapport. I gave him no such time. I was young and arrogant. He is a mage, I thought. He needs to grow up and act like one. I expected too much from him too quickly. I gave no consideration to his origin or his feelings, and he retreated further from me. All I could think of was how stubborn he was, how he was throwing away all his talent and his potential just to be difficult. Oh, age and wisdom have mellowed me. I was quite different back then. Much more unforgiving. You cannot plant crops in the cold, wintry ground. You cannot teach a student who is closed off and unresponsive. Patience is what is needed, and I learned that too late to help him. Anarin ran away from the circle one night. I had berated him over some trivial, ridiculous matter that I no longer remember. I drove him away because of something utterly unimportant. He was a child, 14 at the time of his leaving. They had his phylactery, and they hunted him down. They called him Maleficar, a mage who practices forbidden magic, deserving of death. He was a child, misunderstood and lost. I begged the Templars to tell me if he suffered, if they gave him a quick death. I got no answers from them. I was his mentor, and they wouldn't even tell me what became of him. I should have known better. I had the best mentors. They were kind, compassionate. Why didn't I learn from them? I failed Anarin. All I had to do was listen to him. He would try to talk to me, and I would tell him to concentrate on his spells. He talked about the alienage sometimes, and the Dalish. He always talked about looking for the Dalish elves. The Templars are well-trained and thorough. That he still lives, it would be a vain hope. The apprentices that came after Anarin benefited greatly from the lessons I learned from him. In a sense, he was my teacher, and I his student. And there it is. My story, my one greatest regret.
What is your desire? Again? I'm game.
Yes.
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 How did a child survive that? The crater is still smoking. It's a boy. 5 fingers, 5 toes. That's all that matters to me. The Maker has answered our prayers. Let's go home, Marta, and raise the Tyke as our own.
And so you return. Lovely Morrigan has at last found someone willing to dance to her tune. Such enchanting music she plays, wouldn't you say? Which one, I wonder? What has Morrigan told you? What little plan has she hatched this time? That she does. The question is, do you? Ah, but it is an old, old story. One that Flemeth has heard before, and even told. Let us skip right to the ending, shall we? Do you slay the old wretch as Morrigan bids, or does the tale take a different turn? Choice. There is power in choices, as there is in lies. I shall give you one of each. Morrigan wishes my grimoire? Take it as a trophy. Tell her I am slain. I go. Perhaps I surprise Morrigan one day. Or I may simply watch. It would be interesting to see what she does with her freedom. Enlightening, even. Would you give an old woman that? Shame. What will it be, then? It is a dance poor Flemeth knows well. Let us see if she remembers the steps. Come, she will earn what she takes. I'd have it no other way.
Victory shall be mine!
What?
You'll never know what hit him!
Yes.
At your order. Right.
Done and... Task complete. On to the next.
Mother's real grimoire, is it? I am glad you were able to find it after all. My thanks for retrieving it. I shall begin studying it immediately and unlock the power that it holds.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
My Valena returned. She told me of your daring rescue. I can't begin to tell you how grateful I am. Take this. A reward for your deed. It's dwarven made and should serve you well. Thank you again. I'm forever in your debt.
What are you doing in Haven? There's nothing for you here. No, you do not. I would have been informed if someone was expecting a visitor. Who? Perhaps revered Father Eirik will know of whom you speak. Unfortunately, he's ministering to the villagers at the moment and cannot be disturbed.
A revered father, huh? That's new. I wonder what this means.
It's always been thus in Haven. We do not question tradition. We do not appreciate lowlanders looking about our home as though it was some sort of zoo. Ask and be on your way. Haven's always been here. My family knows no other home. Father Eirik is our spiritual leader and guide. He's in the chantry giving a sermon. You should not disturb him. We keep to ourselves. We see no need to announce our presence to the world. It's more peaceful that way. Then perhaps you should return to the lowlands. You may trade for supplies at the shop if you wish. Then I suggest you and your companions leave.
Did it just get a lot colder, or is it just me?
They are hiding something. 'Tis obvious, is it not?
Ah, quiet, insular communities. There's always something nasty going on behind closed doors. I hope it involves chains. I hope they ask me to join in.
Used for food preparation, perhaps? I'm just trying to be optimistic. The other explanation is slightly more disturbing.
I wonder. The crows often made sacrifices of blood, and it gave them uncanny abilities.
That is human blood. I just do. I also know that no one can lose that much blood and live.
It is done. That wasn't so bad.
Come, Bonnie Lynn. Tell us where you've been. Were you up? Were you down? chasing rabbits round the town. Come, come, Bonnie Lynn, tell us where you've been. Come, come, Bonnie Lynn, we've a bed to put you in. It is soft, it is warm, it will shelter from the storm. Come, come, Bonnie Lynn, we've a bed to put you in. Dear, dear Bonnie Lynn, sleeps the peaceful crib within. A mossy stone, a finger bone, no one knows but Lynn alone. Dear, dear Bonnie Lynn, sleeps the peaceful crib within. Who are you? You shouldn't be here. I asked you first. No, and I don't care neither. Lowlanders don't belong here.
That is rather wily of you, Zevran.
What is so wily of me, oh magical temptress?
Getting in the good graces of the one who decides whether you live or die, not to mention the one who can protect you against your former comrades.
And I am supposed to believe you are here out of a sense of patriotism, perhaps?
Hardly that.
We all have our reasons for doing what we do. Mine happen to come with a set of lovely eyes.
Finished.
What? Why are you looking at me like that? Haven is Haven, but I have a secret. Do you want to see? Over by the mountain. It's lucky. I keep it with me. Don't tell anyone, all right?
We have nothing you'd want. Please go.
Who are you? You're not from Haven. How would you describe the place you know only as home? No, I've never heard that name. I don't have much, but I suppose you can take a look.
Done and done.
What are you doing? That's private!
You hear that? There's people in the Chardri. The whole town, maybe.
We are blessed beyond measure. We are chosen by the Holy and Beloved to be her guardians. This sacred duty is given to us alone. Rejoice, my brethren, and prepare your hearts to receive her. Lift up your voices and despair not, for she will raise her faithful servants to glory when her... I understand that you are new here, but common courtesy dictates that one shouldn't interrupt. No matter. We were just about done here anyway.
But, Your Reverence, we have not completed the sacraments of the Holy Mother or sung the invocation.
Be calm, Nodda. We have an honored guest. Surely the sacraments can wait.
How nightmarish to live in such a rural village, the only entertainment being priests who go on about the chant of this and that. Just once I'd like to walk into one of these places and discover a lively dance, or a drinking festival, or an orgy. But alas, no.
That is all for today, my children. I shall see you tomorrow. For now, I should see to our visitor. It is better this way. Many of the villagers are uncomfortable in the presence of strangers. We find outsiders disruptive. They bring others, and before long, Haven is changed. We will go to any lengths to prevent that. You understand a man's need to protect his family, don't you? Brothers, you know what must be done.
'Twould seem we are not alone.
Let's get started.
You will run to fear me!
This should be easy enough. Let's get started.
I am your death!
Oh, another battle it is!
I think we work well together.
It is done.
Who are you? They've sent you to finish it. You don't know how glad I am to see someone who isn't from this village. The leg's not doing so well, and I can't feel my foot.
The leg is wounded, but that will heal in time. The foot may have to come off.
I thought you might say that. But if the foot goes, it goes. There are more important things than an old man's feet. I don't have time to rest now. I'm so close. The urn is just up that mountain. My research led me to Haven, and I have heard the villagers talking. I know the urn is here. Haven lies in the shadow of the mountain that holds the urn. There is an old temple there built to protect it. The door is always locked, but I know what the key is. Iric wears a medallion that opens the temple door. I've seen what he does with it. Yes, that is your key. Take me to the mountainside, and I will show you. It is not that far, and will you let me lean on you? For the urn, any pain is worth enduring. That's wise. There are many more villagers than the ones you've already dealt with.
That wasn't so bad.
We are not alone. Really not alone.
Right. Enemies approaching. On it. Right. Let's get started. Show me what you've got! On it.
Look at this mess! I love it!
Right. As you wish. Task complete. On to the next. That wasn't so bad.
Ah, you're back. Well? Waylon? What about him? Oh, poor Waylon. I should never have dragged you into this. Maker take you into his hands, my boy. He believed in me, even when I lost faith in myself. I will honor his memory. Was there something else you wanted to say? All right. What is on your mind? Yes, of course. How could I forget? Eirik said they were ambushed, some killed, a few brought back to Haven to be questioned. He was so self-righteous about it, so smug. He seemed pleased that he had tortured and murdered these men. Good. Eirik and his fellows were a blemish in the Maker's sight. If the Maker would even deign to look upon this world, that is. Let's just talk about something else now, shall we? Well, it wasn't exactly what I expected it to be. They call themselves the Disciples of Andraste. They are very, very devoted. One could say fanatically so. They must be here to protect the Urn, but they speak of Andraste as though she was still alive. I thought so at first, but I'm not so sure anymore. Was there something else you wanted to discuss? They seemed intent on finding out personal information about me, where I grew up, things like that. Just as they did with Wayland. They must have been close to killing me then. Cure Arl Eamon. Is the Arl sick? What happened? Loghain? Why? Oh, I have been so occupied with the Anne. I've missed so much. I certainly hope the ashes will save him. The legends speak of their miraculous powers. There are many stories of pilgrims being healed, the blind seeing, and the lame dancing in joy. Perhaps it is Andraste that does this. Perhaps it is belief itself. By believing the ashes are magical, you make them so. Anyway, that can be discussed once we actually have the ashes, and the Arl is better. So run along and get that medallion, then. Yes, that is your key. Take me to the mountainside, and I will show you. Ah, good. Help me up here. I'll try not to slow us down. Here we are. Give me the medallion, and let's see if I remember. Yes, you see, it can be manipulated, just like this. And there. A key to open the way. There are very few keys like this left in the world, but I have seen some. When you find the right combination, it just feels right. It is hard to explain. Now, let's see if we can open this door. There should be a place to insert this. Oh, what I would give to have seen this hall in all its splendor, as it was meant to be. Still, sweep away the ice and the snow, and traces of beauty remain. I'm sorry, what? I was a little distracted, I apologize. These carvings were created just after Andraste's death, and they may reveal things about her life that we do not yet know. I think I need more time to study these statues and carvings. I could not keep up with you with my injuries. I should be safe. I don't think there are any villagers here. Go, I will be all right. Perhaps my destiny was only to lead you to the Anne. It was designed to protect the Anne from those who would steal it or do harm to it, namely the Tevinter Imperium. I would hope not. And if the legends speak truly, you will never reach the Anne with malice in your heart. Only the faithful shall lay eyes on the sacred ashes. Death and misfortune await the unbeliever. The Maker's gaze has fallen on Andraste's final resting place. He weeps for his beloved, and his wrath at her betrayers endures. That is what the legend says, and the Maker may indeed watch this place. Read between the lines, however, and you'll understand that it is merely a simple truth draped in hyperbole and metaphor. After all, no one wants to hear Willie toiled for many a year to perfect the curious mechanisms that would send a sharpened spike up the arse of the unwary intruder. I think my decision to stay here was the best one, don't you? I'll be right here if you need me. Now I need something to write on.
An ancient temple. Lost to all but a select few. Magnificent.
This should be easy enough. On it. I'm unable to do that. Finished.
Watch now.
Back! This should be easy enough.
Cross me and you shall pay!
On it. Let's get started. On it. Trap! Right. This should be easy enough. On it.
Another battle, I see.
And stay down!
Let's get started. Right.
Slay them all!
This should be easy enough.
A point.
As you wish.
I think that's all of them, yes?
Done and done. I'm unable to do that. Let's get started. On it. Right. I can't die like this! It is done. Task complete. On to the next. Done and done. Come, you can do better than that! Let's get started. I said something drawing near. Trap! 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 This should be easy enough. Wipe them out! As you wish. Right. Watch for the demons. On it. Let's get started.
Let's grab some glory!
Time for a little cleanup! This should be easy enough. I said something drawing near.
Really not alone.
Let's get started. On it. Let's get started. I approve. Warden senses tingling. On it. Delightful. As you wish. It's too easy.
That's Archon Hessarian, the Magister who ordered Andraste burned to death and then took mercy on her at the last second. Let's get started. That wasn't so bad. Right. Something on your mind?
Living wretches. Let's get started. You're getting fooled!
We are victorious again.
started. Is it just me, or do you actually think you have a chance?
Oh, another battle it is!
What shall I do? Right.
And you shall pay!
This should be easy enough.
What
Enemies approaching. Let's get started.
I hope someone was keeping score.
Trap! Trap! Trap!
Killing dragons could be somewhat fun.
As you wish. Right.
Oh, this should be good.
Oh look, some more fun to be had.
This should be easy enough. On it. As you wish. Let's get started. Right. On it.
Now we play a little.
Time to take steel.
Ooh, nice swing.
You need help?
Let's get started.
Win!
Done and done. Finished. Trap! Let's get started. You had it coming! Be wary. Stay still! Oh, this should be good. On it.
Trap! Trap!
Now we get our hands. As you wish. Warden senses tingling.
Trap!
This should be easy enough. Let's get started.
Cross me and you shall pay! I shall not be defeated.
It is done. On it. This should be easy enough. Desperation is an ugly perfume!
Stop! You will go no further! You do not have the right to demand my name. You have defiled our temple. You have spilled the blood of the faithful and slaughtered our young. No more. You will tell me now, intruder, why you have done all this. Why have you come here? I am Father Colgrim, leader and guide to the disciples of Andraste. Kill us, and you will face Andraste. She will smell our blood, and the blood of her children on you, and her wrath will be great. The prophet Andraste has overcome death itself, and has returned to her faithful in a form more radiant than you can imagine. Not even the Tevinter Imperium could hope to slay her now. What hope do you have? You know nothing! Andraste revealed herself to us! We are her chosen! To arms, my brethren! Andraste will grant us victory!
Enemies approaching.
The more fun we Time for a little bloodletting, I see. Now we play a little.
Another battle, I see.
Be cautious. A dragon such as this is better to avoid than engage.
I feel like we have just entered the Grand Cleric's bedchambers, where no one has gone before.
I bid you welcome, pilgrim. I am the Guardian, the protector of the Urn of Sacred Ashes. I have waited years for this. It has been my duty, my life, to protect the urn and prepare the way for the faithful who come to revere Andraste. For years beyond counting have I been here, and shall I remain until my task is done and the Imperium has crumbled into the sea. Ah, is it not? Then perhaps this is the beginning of the end. When my brethren and I carried Andraste from Tevinter to this sanctuary, we vowed to forever revere her memory and guard her. I have watched generations of my brethren take up the mantle of their fathers. For centuries they did this, unwavering, joyful in their appointed task. But now they have lost their way. They have forgotten Andraste and their promise. I am all that remains of the first disciples. I swore I would protect the urn as long as I lived, and I have lived a very long time. Did anyone really know her, save the Maker? She would sometimes spend weeks alone in meditation, often without food or water. I made a vow to Andraste and to the Maker. My life is tied to the ashes. As long as they remain, so will I. You already know that the urn contains the remains of the prophet Andraste. What else is there to tell? No. Our Andraste has gone to the Maker's side. She will not return. The dragon is a fearsome creature, and they must have seen her as an alternative to the absent Maker and his silent Andraste. A true believer would not require audacious displays of power. It began with an ancestor of the one known as Colgrim. He saw himself as a new prophet, preaching the rebirth. Some disagreed with him. I heard their cries of pain and loss, which were quickly silenced. You have come to honor Andraste, and you shall, if you prove yourself worthy. Still, you must prove yourself worthy. It is not my place to decide your worthiness. The gauntlet does that. If you are found worthy, you will see the urn and be allowed to take a small pinch of the ashes for yourself. If not... Before you go, there is something I must ask. I see that the path that led you here was not easy. There is suffering in your past. Your suffering, and the suffering of others. Tamlen was one of your tribe, a blood brother. You left him in the ruins, left him to his fate. Tell me, pilgrim, did you fail Tamlen? Thank you. That is all I wish to know.
You are too hard on yourself. No one's perfect.
Is there any religion that does not thrive upon guilt, like a glutton at his lunch? No, I thought not.
And now the self-flagellation? Oh, that is what comes next in these things, no?
And what of those that follow you? Alistair, Knight, and Warden. You wonder if things would have been different if you were with Duncan on the battlefield. You could have shielded him from the killing blow. You wonder, don't you, if you should have died and not him?
Yes. If Duncan had been saved and not me, everything would be better. If I just had the chance, maybe I...
And the Antivan elf.
Oh, is it my turn now? Hurrah! I'm so excited.
Many have died at your hand. But is there any you regret more than a woman by the name of...
How do you know about that?
I know much. It is allowed to me. The question stands, however. Do you regret?
Yes, the answer is yes, if that's what you wish to know. I do. Now move on.
And you, Morrigan, Flemeth's daughter, what?
Begone, spirit. I will not play your games.
I will respect your wishes. The way is open. Good luck, and may you find what you seek.
Echoes from a shadow realm, whispers of things yet to come. Thought's strange sister dwells in night, is swept away by dawning light. Of what do I speak? A dream came upon me as my daughter slumbered beneath my heart. It told of her life, and of her betrayal and death. I am sorrow and regret. I am a mother weeping bitter tears for a daughter she could not save.
The smallest lark could carry it, while a strong man might not. Of what do I speak? Yes, I was Andraste's dearest friend in childhood, and always we would sing. She celebrated the beauty of life, and all who heard her would be filled with joy. They say the Maker himself was moved by Andraste's song, and then she sang no more of simple things.
An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The debt of blood must be paid in full. Of what do I speak? Yes, my husband Hysarion would have chosen a quick death for Andraste. I made him swear that she would die publicly with her war leaders, that all would know the Imperium's strength. I am justice. I am vengeance. Blood can only be repaid in blood.
I'd neither a guest nor a trespasser be. In this place I belong, that belongs also to me. Of what do I speak? It was my dream for the people to have a home of their own, where we would have no masters but ourselves. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and thus we followed Andraste against the Imperium. But she was betrayed, and so were we.
A poison of the soul, passion's cruel counterpart. From love she grows, till love lies slain. Of what do I speak? Yes, jealousy drove me to betrayal.
I was the greatest general of the Alamori, but beside her I was nothing. Hundreds fell before her on bended knee. They loved her, as did the Maker. I loved her too. But what man can compare with a god?
The bones of the world stretched towards the sky's embrace, veiled in white, like a bride greeting her groom. Of what do I speak? Yes. I carried Andraste's ashes out of Tevinter into the mountains to the east, where she could gaze ever into her Maker's sky. No more fitting a tomb than this could we find.
No man has seen it, but all men know it. Lighter than air, sharper than any sword. Comes from nothing, but will fell the strongest armies. Of what do I speak? Yes, hunger was the weapon used against the wicked men of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker kindled the sun's flame, scorching the land. Their crops failed, and their armies could not march. Then he opened the heavens and bade the waters flow, and washed away their filth. I am Cather, disciple of Andraste and commander of her armies. I saw these things done, and knew the Makers smiled on us.
She wields the broken sword, and separates true kings from tyrants. Of what do I speak? Yes, I could not bear the sight of Andraste's suffering, and mercy bade me end her life. I am the penitent sinner, who shows compassion as he hopes compassion will be shown to him.
It's so cold here, sister. Do you feel it? The chill eats at my bones. You think, this cannot be Tamlen. Tamlen is gone. He is only footsteps in the dust. I am Tamlen, and yet I am not. I am part of the gauntlet, and part of you. Some things lost can never be found. Some mistakes never unmade. Those that survive must go on living. You have suffered enough, thinking that you could have done something. It is time to leave that behind. Take this. It is nothing compared to the crafts of our fathers, but it should serve you well. I wish you well, my friend. We will not meet again.
I sense something
great.
drawing near.
No wonder to stop for lunch, too.
Let's get started. Only one shall stand! Back! This should be easy enough. As you wish. Right. As you wish.
Uh-oh. I'm terrible at puzzles. Hey, you see those thingies over on the side of that huge chasm? I bet they're used for something. Maybe I should touch them or stand on them?
Yes. Next time we see a strange contraption, why don't you just go stand on it? If something bad happens, hey, we know it's a trap.
You don't really think they're traps, do you?
Oh, look at that.
I don't think it's solid enough to stand on, but it's a start.
Shall we? And the piece of bridge appears solid. But perhaps someone else should go first. Hmm?
Let's go. Maker's bread. Andraste only favored the clever, it seems. By the Maker. It's the urn of sacred ashes. That's it. That's really it.
You have been through the trials of the gauntlet. You have walked the path of Andraste, and like her, you have been cleansed. You have proven yourself worthy, pilgrim. Approach the sacred ashes.
I didn't think anyone could succeed in finding Andraste's final resting place. But here she is.
I stand in awe. Really?
Nice vase. I should get one for my house.
Task complete. On to the next. That wasn't so bad.
welcome back. You were gone for quite some time. Well, did you find it? Is that? Oh, there's some dust on... No, that's not dust. Oh, Maker, I'm not worthy to look upon. What was it like, coming to the urn, I mean? Tests? Interesting. Very interesting. Perhaps my research will not seem so much like blasphemy to the Chantry now. We must organize an expedition. There is so much history here, it must be studied. And pilgrims should be allowed to come to the urn. But the urn belongs to all the faithful. How can you deny this to them? No, we must share it.
So everyone comes by and takes some ashes from the urn. Ooh, I hope that urn is self-replenishing.
And perhaps charge an entrance fee, no?
Yes, share it. Spread the word, and more will come under the Chantry's power. Is this not what you want?
I will spread this good news or die trying. I must return home. I have much to do. If you ever find yourself in Denerim, please visit me. I am not a rich man, but I have a small collection of interesting artifacts, and I do owe you a reward for coming to my rescue. I hope to see you soon, my friend.